Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Let's talk about health. And today I want to talk about health and microcurrent. What's microcurrent? Well, it's tiny, tiny currents circulating in your body. Your cell need to be fed with the proper electricity, the proper current. You may have noticed if you bump your elbow, you get that electrical shock. Not very comfortable. Just shows you we have electricity coursing in our bodies. And unlike most of my trainings, where I just do a training, at the end of this presentation, I will offer an opportunity to buy a little device that is absolutely amazing. So if you're not interested, just cut me off after the training and hopefully you'll learn something. Oh, also, I love to have silly little pictures and a lot of graphics and colors. When I was studying for my PhD, I also took a class in photo reading. And we learned that having a childlike attitude helps us to learn much faster. Think about it. Children learn so fast, so quickly, and on a myriad of different things. So let's put ourselves in a childlike stage. What did I write that? A state of optimal well-being. That's what health is. And many of my clients tell me, oh yes, I'm healthy. And when I ask them, well, what does it mean to be healthy? What is health? What they would tell me is, well, I didn't have the flu last year and I haven't had the flu for a while. Well, that may not necessarily be the ideal picture of health. We want to have more than not being sick. So are you physically, mentally, and emotionally sound? Feeling vibrant, happy, and optimistic? You get out of your bed in the morning jumping because, hey, there is a new day and we're going to conquer it? And are your organs functioning at maximal efficiency naturally, not with all kinds of medication? So that's what healthy means, being a state of optimal well-being. And what can bother our health? Well, toxins of all kinds. They can make us feel sick, tired, depressed. But what are toxins? Different kinds of toxins. You can have physical, energetic, emotional, and psychological imbalances. Physical toxins can be pesticides, insecticides, junk food, eating too much sugar. Energetic, well, your cell phone, the computer, and all kind of, microwave, television, all that has an energy, a frequency that can trouble our cells. Emotional toxins, well, if you have pent up grief or sadness, or can get over an anger problem, that's an emotional toxins. Even psychological imbalances, mindset, wrong belief that are disempowering, those can all be toxins. Now, you don't become sick from one day to the next. You don't go to the doctor and all of a sudden you are diagnosed with cancer. It doesn't happen that way. It is a progression. And I'm not going to go in depth with this chart because I'm going to do another micro training with it, going through the different phases. But know that if you are in like the turquoise phase, it's much easier to get healthy because you're still in an energetic imbalances. Once you get in the gray phase, then your organs, your cells are really implicated. So the elimination phase is what your body does. It can get rid of these toxins unless you have too much of them. And then they accumulate if you don't detox. And eventually they accumulate more and more until all of a sudden you show up with cancer. Again, I'm going to talk about this chart more, but know that you do not get sick from one day to the other. There is a progression. There's a time in the life of every problem when it's big enough to see, yet small enough to solve. Whether your problem is physical, you're starting to feel a little sick, maybe you feel that the flu is coming, or you have financial problem or problem in your marriage. As soon as you detect a little bit of a problem, do something about it. for your body, for instance, if you feel a flu is coming, why not strengthen your immune system immediately? So there's many different ways that you can do something for your life when it's tiny. It's not when you have the big, huge problem that all of a sudden say, oh, I need to do something about it. Do something when it is small. Let's go from health to disease and potentially back to health. So you're born a baby, a cute little baby, usually. And then you go through life, and what happens in kind of the middle of life, in the 30s or so, you're starting to not feel so well. You have some malaise, some disease, and that's okay, but you just don't feel that great anymore. And then the problem gets bigger and bigger. So you decide to go see a doctor. Doctor then runs some tests and some more tests, and maybe sends you to a specialist, give you some medication. You feel kind of okay, but you stay in that malaise disease. You're not going back to feeling that healthy the way you were when you were born. If you don't take care of the problem, then eventually it may lead you to a premature death. But there are different things to do. It is possible to go back from malaise back to health. No, you're not going to get back to being a baby at the baby stage, but you can keep your health for as long as possible. You don't need to have all these diseases of civilization, which usually come from our lifestyle. Have you thought about the food you eat? Is it healthy? How about your emotions? Can you master them? How about your mindset? Are you mentally fit? How about seeking the root cause? Medical doctors are not trained to find the root cause of a problem. They know how to palliate the problem and eventually work with energy also. So in my 45 plus year career, I developed 5 keys. If you want to know a little more about it, go to QHE21.com/5 keys, and it's going to show you, there's nothing to sell there. It's going to show you what these 5 keys are about taking care of your physical, emotional, mental, subconscious, and energetic body. So this is a cell. This one particular is a muscle cell. Just wanted to show you that little picture because it has those little batteries you can see right here. It shows that we need electricity in our cells. Our cells need to take in nutrients and then release the trash, the garbage that's in, and the receptors are open for that. But in order for all these events to happen, you have to have some electrical power going on. And you may have heard about, you need to have the balance between calcium and magnesium, sodium and potassium. They have a lot to do with the electrical health of your cells. Now, I learned that in depth some 25 years ago. I'm going to reread some books because I'm getting very interested in microcurrents. But right now, it's not that important. Just know that your body needs some electrical input, output, and that is as important or maybe more important as food. So let's look at this little chart. There is your happy young cell. It's the currency to measure the voltage that we need in our body is in negative microvolt. So a happy, healthy cells has a frequency of minus 70 millivolts. But then as you go through life, your cells age, and around minus 50 microvolt, you start to wonder because you don't feel as young as you used to. Your cells are aging, they're not staying as healthy as they used to be. And then when we saw the big problem with malaise, and this is in the other slide, as you go around 40 to 30 microvolts, that's when you start to feel these symptoms. The electrical system is not functioning properly in your body. You have pain, inflammation, or edema. If you don't do anything, then you keep going up or down, and there the blood flow doesn't circulate as well, so you get even sicker. And then all of a sudden, you're diagnosed with cancer. And it might even proliferate. And eventually, it's going to lead to the cell death. Bye-bye, the cell. But if too many cells die, you go bye-bye as well. So this is to show you that it's important to keep the voltage in your cells at the proper frequency. So I have some navigation tools, and I don't ever sell vitamins and minerals, different kind of pills or ointments, but this is that special little tool I wanted to talk to you about. If you don't want to hear about it, hopefully you learned something about microcurrent, why it is necessary for our body. So let's talk about that little tool that I got about a week ago now. I've heard about it for like 5 or 6 months with amazing testimonials. So it's called the Healy. And the Healy is a tiny little device that gets hooked to your smartphone, either an iPhone or the other one. And the programs are downloaded to the iPhone and then to the Healy, and it runs these programs on you. And you put this little armbands, and they hook to the Healy, which is right here. Here is my Healy. And they restore the proper voltage in your cells. So your cells, instead of going in a direction where eventually they go towards death, hopefully they get healthier and healthier and healthier. And there are 4 sets of programs that you can buy. You can also buy a watch that checks what programs you need. And it is the first medical device that's approved by the FDA for the relief of acute, chronic, and arthritis pain and muscle soreness due to overexertion. And I can testify to that because I sit a lot in front of my computer, and I started to develop chronic muscle pain on my traps and on my lower back. And I put myself on the Healy for a couple of hours, and I haven't had that problem the whole week, even though I've been sitting. So there is all kind of different testimonials that we hear about different diseases or challenges that people are experiencing. But in the United States, you're not really allowed to talk about that. The FDA prevents you from talking about those great testimonials we have. If you can go on a European website or an Australian website, you're going to have many more testimonials that are available than here. It also has a non-medical application to help balance your mind, body, and relieve stress. There's also interesting application to relieve the toxins of bioenergetic frequencies. But again, that is not admitted by the Food and Drug Administration because there hasn't been enough testing on it. If you want to know more about it, you go to qhe21.com/now. And on the upper right, you're going to see that little Healy device. Just click on it. You can get information or read quite a few testimonials that might interest you. The reason I'm doing this presentation now is because until June 9th, 2020, if you decide to get one of the Healy, they will automatically upgrade you to the next one, allowing you to save $500 to $1,000. So it's why I think it's important for me to talk to you about this amazing little device. I've had an energy frequency device since 2002. I paid $25,000 for it. And the problem with that one, it's on a computer and I have to type the programs. I sit even more on the computer. With the Healy, it gets programmed, I put it in my pocket, and I go about my day, and it helps to restore the proper frequencies in my cells. So thank you. If you have any questions, I'm giving you here the way you can contact me. And there's also other tools I have on my website that makes navigating life on planet Earth easier. So I have a Facebook group that I started about 6 weeks ago. It's called Dr. Danielle's Step-by-Step Holistic Health. And I post some trainings there. And that group is linked to my Gmail account called coachmenowdrd@gmail.com. You can also go to my website. People were asking, what's at QHE21? Well, it's my company, my organization, Quantum Health and Excellence for 21st Century Challenges. When I was networking, a lot of time, you had such a little room to put your email address. I used to have a big one. I had to come up with an easy and quick one. So it's Dr. D at QHE21.com. And again, if you go to qhe21.com/now, you can you can schedule a discovery session with me, where we'll talk about where you're at in your life and what I could potentially help you with, or give you at least a direction of what I would do in your situation. And you can check on the Healy. It's worth checking what that little thing can do. And again, until June 9th, you can save between $500 and $1,000. If you can afford it at all, I would recommend getting one. Maybe you're not going to need a naturopath as often if you have this little tool, but I think it's definitely the medicine of the future. So thank you again for listening to me. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you in our next training.